I'm going to start off by introducing Amy. For those who don't know Amy, I recommend you work on getting to know her. Phenomenal person. I'm glad to call a friend. Amy's bio: Amy Lientz is an executive of the University of Idaho responsible for engagement and alumni relations. She provides strategy and leadership to develop, implement, and maintain comprehensive programs designed to provide meaningful opportunities for volunteerism, service, personal and professional development, and events and programs for alumni to enhance loyalty, dedication, and support for the University of Idaho. She serves as a spokesperson for over 100,000 alumni, I believe 104 this last round. Leads efforts to create and sustain strong value connections for alumni and develops programs to facilitate lifelong dialogue between the university and its constituents to increase alumni engagement of time, talent, and treasure. A little bit of background: Amy is a 1985 graduate of Orofino High School and still connects to the community important needs in education. She's been a contributor to the new library, has been a volunteer for the Idaho Youth Challenge Academy, and is a contributor to the community garden at the elementary school. Her parents, Joe and Evelyn, live in Orofino and she visits frequently. She has more than 30 years of experience in the energy sector, which for me, that's something very personal. That's a sector I'm in. So I knew about Amy before I knew Amy, including project management, strategic planning, public affairs, and public policy. Amy most recently served as the Senior Director of Supply Chain Energy Programs for Battelle Energy Alliance at Idaho National Laboratory. She earned a master's degree in industrial technology from U of I, remained an enthusiastic U of I volunteer and partner for many years. She has much passion with efforts to help raise up and bring opportunity to underrepresented populations. As an advisor to the College of Engineering at the University of Idaho, she helps lead efforts to inspire young women into engineering careers and students live in rural populations. She's a founding member of the Idaho Defense Alliance and received several awards for the Department of Defense for being a supportive employer of veterans. She's also an honoree of the Idaho Business Review Woman of the Year. Amy currently serves on the board for several key organizations such as University of Idaho McClure Policy Center, Vice Chair for Idaho Public Television, and Sun Valley Economic Development Council. In her previous positions, she was a director for supply chain and partnerships at INL, she mentioned, but also a vice president for CH2M Hill. When her schedule allows, you can find Amy golfing, fly fishing, skiing, rafting, and hiking. So all of that to say that is just the tip of the iceberg for Miss Amy Lientz. So with that, we'll jump right into the questions. Amy, did I miss anything?
No, definitely not.
So what drew you to the position of being the new alumni director?
Well, thanks, Nick. And it's great to see some familiar faces that are now just tuning in, and hopefully I'll get to meet many others that I don't know. And I'll just say, at any point, if you have questions or you want to engage, please just post them in the chat, post your questions in the chat, and we'll definitely get to those questions. And we will also want to hear from you. If you want to chime in, you're welcome to do that. And we'll kind of moderate that as we go. But a great way to kick it off, Nick, I think one of the things that drew me to this position with the University of Idaho is this is such an exciting time to be a part of the university. There is so much energy and things going on. I've been really inspired with seeing the results of hard work, both of the leadership, but of many of the alumni that are getting involved. I mean, I've had a great career, but for me, it was really time to make a change and give back to something I was passionate about. And I really have a lot of passion for this university. Been engaged after I left the university as a student. I might have taken a short break, not as short as it wasn't too short, but I was able to return right away and get involved in the university, which we really hope more and more alumni do. But I really wanted to be involved with the institution and be a part of this excitement. So it was an easy decision to throw my name in the hat to become the University of Idaho alum. And that's exactly what I did. I will say the excitement continues at this university. I mean, I'm incredibly impressed with what I'm seeing in terms of student enrollments. The applications are up like 36%. Graduate admissions are up 22%. And our campus visits are the highest they've ever been. In fact, there's a lot of alumni every day that reach out to me to say, hey, my girl or my son wants to go to the University of Idaho potentially. Can you help connect us to the right folks? And so we do end up doing a lot of that. And I think it's making a big difference in terms of the number of alumni that are paying attention, that are helping to get the students to come at least for a visit on the campus. But there are all kinds of new programs that are happening with this university. I just met with Dean Chopin with the College of Business, and he told me about the exciting online business program that will reach people across the world. Our alumni is actually involved with a lot of different programs with the high schools, and now also the middle schools, not just the high schools anymore, but they're reaching out to all kinds of programs across Idaho and beyond. But then this, of course, excitement spills over to a lot of the events that are planned in the athletic department. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well as we continue on. But bottom line, Nick, it's really about the excitement that's happening at the university. And I really wanted to be a part of it.
That's great. I love hearing about the increase to the visits, particularly on campus. One of the things that even when I was a student, we always said with recruiting is, if we can get them on campus, we can get them to come to school here. It's hard not to fall in love with that place when you step foot on it. You share a little bit of your history and student experiences at University of Idaho.
Well, you spilled the beans that I grew up in Orofino, Idaho. I was a fish hatchery brat. My dad ran the Steelhead Fish Hatchery there in Orofino. And because of that, we were on campus a lot. It was exciting to always come with him if he had a meeting with the professors up here, to walk around and see the great, the wonderful campus. But also, as I jumped into the University of Idaho as a student in my bachelor's program, I've always kept really busy. So I joined in as a Pi-Phi, but I also worked a lot of hours. I was very proud to be able to put myself through school as much as I could. So I don't know if anybody's out there that knew about Hunter's Candy store, but that's where I worked. Yay, Nancy, I see a raised hand. So I worked at the downtown Hunter's Candy, and then I also worked in the mall. I didn't like chocolate particularly well, so I think that's why they hired me, but it was a job that fit very well with being involved in the university. I got involved in a lot of campaign activities. In fact, one of my best memories is with Governor Cecil Andrus, and walking him around campus and introducing him to all kinds of people and setting up events with him. And there was a couple of us that did that, but it was a wonderful, wonderful memory. So I always kept myself very engaged on the university campus, and very, very busy. But I continued to come back. I came back to the university in my master's program, and was very involved in working on my publication at the time, which had to do with pollution prevention. And that kept me busy, definitely. And before I was ever able to finish my master's degree, I was hired by Idaho National Laboratory. At the time, it was known as Idaho National Engineering and Environmental Laboratory. But the good news was that I was able to be based in Idaho Falls and finish that last part, the publication, while I was taking on one of my first big jobs, and then also being able to finish my master's at the Idaho Falls Center. So it's been definitely a great partnership, at least in my career, to be a part of the university from the early stages, and continuing on with volunteering and being involved in lots of the events of the university and lots of the other activities that have gone on. So.
Yeah, I didn't know you'd finished out at the Idaho Falls campus. Learn something new every day. So you've been on the job now for almost 2 months. So what kind of goals have you set or you see forming up in your new role as the alumni director?
Well, definitely one of my biggest goals is to grow alumni engagement. It's been 2 years that we've had activities that have been mostly online with the University of Idaho, with the alumni group, and to be able to really bring back people to the university. We really have a great team here in the alumni office that's excited to be engaged and involved in doing a lot more programming events with our alumni. But first of all, we also have to find them, and that's not very easy. And so we found you all that are out there, but there's also a lot more alumni, 112, 14,000 alumni that exist, and trying to find them is sometimes a challenge. But we also want to give them a reason to be engaged, right? And there's many reasons to be involved, not just to go to a football game, but have them involved in many things that might interest them, whether it's mentorship, also to maybe be on an advisory board, to be involved in a chapter in their local community, but give them great reasons to be involved. The other thing that I want to set out to do is to partner, and it's really important to have these partnerships that we have, not only internal to the university by partnering with the deans to make sure we understand what their goals are, to partner with the athletics department, if that that helps draw people together, partner with the centers, Boise, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho Falls, making those connections and partnerships as strong as they can be. We are all one. And I'm trying to kind of encourage people to not think about things in stovepipes, but we're all University of Idaho, and how do we work together to build the momentum we need with the university and to make bigger things happen. And then I also want to make sure that one of the other challenge is connecting with our recent graduates. That there's programs called the Alumni, the Gold Chapter, which is kind of that 10-year after graduation timeframe. And that those are hard folks sometimes to find and to engage, but that's so important that we find things that interest them and we find ways to communicate to them, because it's not all about reading an email to our younger generation. Sometimes it's also how do we connect with them and on other platforms, and again, what draws them back to the university sooner than waiting decades later to be involved in the university. So those are some of my key goals, but when you sum it all up, it's really about growing our alumni engagement. Yeah. Oops. Nick, you're on mute.
Oh, maybe 15 minutes. All right. Now I'm going to ask you the really hard questions. You've covered a lot of really great ideas and concepts and goals here. What are you most excited about in your new job?
Yeah, it kind of goes up to my opening remarks. There's so much energy and so much excitement around the university. This is something that I absolutely want to be a part of. I mean, certainly if you've been following the news lately or following your emails, the campaign is really, really exciting right now. There's so many people that want to be being a part of contributing towards a student's success or contributing towards the university's success. And they're doing an awesome job. But it also starts with engagement of alumni and really making sure that we build those connections and nurture our alumni. But if that didn't happen already, if there wasn't a good foundation, those goals probably wouldn't have been met. So much more is even possible if we can engage with even more people. So the good news is I'm really excited. I mean, it's such an exciting opportunity because there's already a strong foundation. There's a strong staff with the Office of Alumni. There's endless opportunities. And of course, there's really, really exciting big projects that I think that the president has really grabbed onto, and results have happened because he has inspired and brought the team together to make things happen. And watching that success, that you just don't talk about these dreams, but you see the dreams happen. So I'm really excited about what the art of the possible is, and being a part of engaging alumni to be a part of that.
Couldn't agree more. I've been on the board for 7 years now, and I have to agree that the excitement is just getting bigger and bigger every time I go to Moscow. You talked about building partnerships. Where do you see those partnerships going? Who are you trying to engage with, both internal to U of I and then also externally?
Well, the internal partnerships are so important. That's kind of where my starting spot was. And I'm still working on it. I really wanted to understand where the colleges wanted to go. What's really some of their goals? Where do they see themselves in 5 years? And how can we work together to help pull in the alumni to help meet their goals? So meeting with the deans, meeting with the student recruiting, meeting with and partnering with some of the advisory boards, like the one that you're on, of course, Nick, but also the McClure Policy Center board is a great foundation of people as well. But really kind of working with advisory boards, the colleges, internally, even what I haven't got to yet, excuse me, is the extension offices. We're all over Idaho, and I want to make sure I connect with them as well. We have some centers in Boise and in Idaho Falls and Coeur d'Alene. That was one of my first goals, is to connect with them to make sure we can work together and meeting some of their goals as well. And externally, sorry, I don't know why I have a buzz in my throat. I have my cup of Joe cup though. Externally, just even working with the community and key alumni. Some of the alumni have been so awesome, giving us great ideas along the way. And then also connecting with some of the corporations. And I'm not there yet, but if anybody has ideas or wants to connect with me, I would love to hear your ideas about how we engage the alumni even more. I have to give you a quick example as well. The Alaska Airlines, right? This is an interesting but a very important piece when it comes to partnering with the economic development world. Now Alaska Airlines has a direct flight from Moscow to Boise, and as you know, also from Moscow to Seattle, but also in Eastern Idaho, Idaho Falls to Boise and up to Moscow. This is a simple, message that we can certainly get people up to Moscow a lot more often and a lot easier, I think, by having Alaska Airlines as a partner. So those corporate discussions are really, really important, and those corporate partnerships are really important. But Nick, I'm going to turn this over to you for a second, because one of the biggest partners to our alumni association is working with your board and working with the Alumni Association board. So I'd like to ask you, maybe, where do you see our partnership, and how do you see that vision coming together?
I think it's a lot of what you've talked about, getting our arms around where our alumni are, especially the lost ones. I was a lost alumni for about 10 years. I came back for a few years, and then my friends weren't there, so I'd come back for a game maybe every other year or so. And then Annie Averitt reached out. I actually asked her about getting a chapter in Salt Lake, and she said, "Well, we don't have one, but I got this board you should get on." But how do we move that from the anecdotal piece over to being more systemically able to meet our alumni where they are? And then how are we able to offer ways to engage, again, that meet our alumni where they are. One of the things that's been really exciting to watch are these affinity chapters, where they're not necessarily based around a geographic area, they're based around a common interest. So I've been involved in the Vandal Vets. We kicked that off last year, Veterans Day in November. And it's anybody who served in the military and is a Vandal. So it's brought some great conversations. The first happy hour call we had, there was all kinds of connections that were reforged there. It's just amazing. I know we've seen a few other of those start to come together. Again, just figuring out where our alumni are, what they're already doing, and how can we build on that rather than trying to build something from scratch that may not even hit the mark. I think that's a huge spot for the partnership. Another thing is I'm going to steal some thunder from one of my colleagues, Rick Sparks, and really understand how our alumni want to engage and engage them the way they say they want to be engaged. That's a big piece of it. I know that the younger generation, I'm kind of on the hedge there. It depends on what day you ask me if I want to be emailed or texted, but he mentioned his son who graduated a few years ago. He says he sends Elliot an email and he may or may not get a response in a week or two. Sends a text, it's immediate. So again, figuring out how do we engage people the way they want to be engaged, and the right cadence, and with the events that matter to them. There's somebody who is a huge supporter of the VSF and related to athletics. It makes sense that we engage them on athletic events, whereas maybe there's somebody who is more involved in a different aspect of university, maybe over a jazz festival, something like that. Let's target that to what their interests are, rather than try to just shotgun blast everybody with the same message all the time. I think that'll help out a lot and really get folks to understand where they can plug in. That's the big thing. It's really hard to know where to jump in and get back involved and re-engage with the university or with other alumni. So the more opportunities we can show to re-engage, I think the better our success is going to be. And honestly, the happier we're all going to be as Vandals, because I'm never happier than when I'm around other Vandals. So
that's great. And thank you for all of your contributions to the board, but also the affinity chapter with the vets. I think that has just been so important, and more affinity chapters to come, definitely, with the help and the ideas of other Vandals. So fantastic. So
now I'm going to put you back on the spot with another question here. You mentioned how important growing the alumni engagement is for you. Can you expand on some of that, particularly the events and ways you're going to be looking to engage?
Yeah, so we've loaded up a calendar of engagement opportunities for alumni, and I think Sandy's going to post a link so people can check it out to see what all is happening in lots of different places. But we have hit the ground running. I mean, everything from events in Seattle to Salt Lake. You mentioned Salt Lake. We've got some great chapter support in Salt Lake area. We're opening up lots of events new in Eastern Idaho. We have some great volunteers coming to the table, and there's never a dull moment in the Treasure Valley. So please just take a look at some of the events that we have planned to gather alumni. And you mentioned a couple, meet them where they are events. And so one of the examples that I like to share is in Sun Valley. We have at least an opportunity for people to gather as University of Idaho Vandals and watch the symphony, but we'll have a pre-function. It'll be a ton of fun. We'll sit all together and we'll pour some Vandal wine from Coulter Creek and have a really, really good time. But there are other events like that. Baseball nights, nights where we'll have evening at Shakespeare. There's just a lot of those meet you where they are events that are listed. But I also wanted to bring your attention to some other really exciting things that are happening. And I hope folks can mark their calendar for October as an example, because there's some pretty exciting things happening in October. It starts with homecoming, of course, and we're playing Northern Colorado. And if you haven't been yet to the arena, the new arena up near the Kibbe Dome, this is a great opportunity to come and visit the arena. You can take a tour with us at any of the home games, but we will have not only at homecoming, but at every single home game, we'll have a big spread where people will want to bring their kids. There'll be games for kids, there'll be food trucks, there'll be prize giveaways. It'll all be on the arena plaza. We'll have a big poster that says when we'll be doing some tours. So we'll take you up to the Idaho Alumni Club to kind of make sure, you know, folks that want to see inside of the arena and that the Idaho Alumni Club can do that. But that's one example. The homecoming, of course, will be the most fun. We'll have so much going on for homecoming, but every home game we're going to make really, really special and bringing alumni to campus and making sure they have lots of opportunities to meet each other and meet with us. The other thing is the Unstoppable Vandal campaign, which is October 20th and through October 20th through 22nd. Again, another great football game that will happen with Portland State. Then not to mention the leadership activities that will happen along with the campaign launch. So please mark your calendars for October, but if you can't make October happen, there's plenty of, I think there's 5 home games this year. There's plenty of opportunities to engage with us there. But I also will, I wanted to mention to you that it's not just about football, of course, but there's a ton of other things to do to engage our alumni. Whether you want to be a mentor, we have the Vandal Alumni network, that the mentoring network that has been launched and is really engaging with our alumni to connect with the students to help them along their journey. We also have opportunities to be on advisory boards. There's always need to volunteer for a number of different activities across the campus. Our colleges are always happy to hear about volunteers, as we are. But then also keep in mind that we want your ideas too. So even if it's engaging by sending us a note or sending us a news release where it was about a vandal, I think those are always really helpful ways to engage with us. And then of course, just think about other alumni that have done well. We have such impressive awards programs and we like to celebrate successes and recognize folks. So if there's somebody you want to recognize through one of our many alumni awards, we love those ideas coming in from alumni. So I know that's a really long list, but I encourage you to kind of jump on our website and just see everything that's going on, because we have a lot happening. Thanks, Nick. And Nick, you have an event, if I recall, that you might want to mention.
we do, but before you can mention one of the meet people where they are type of events, some of the most successful events we've had up here in North Idaho have been, again, I'm riding on Rick Sparks' coattails. Again, I'm name dropping him like crazy, so I'll probably owe him a couple bucks. But just a group of friends that he kept through college, just slowly adding more and more people to it until we have the Silver Valley Bike Weekend, the Day on the Lake. That was where the Vandal Ski Days first started, was a group of, I think, Delta SIGs that went skiing every February up at Lookout Pass. It's slowly morphed into the entire town of Wallace joining a Vandal party. But that was just a great example of a grassroots, just Vandals getting together and then making it more of a formal event after we already had people getting together. So if you've got those, or you have those groups, reach out. Let's create an event out of it. But the big one that Amy teased up, and I noticed she talked about all the football games except for the home opener on September 17th against Drake, but we're having our very first Tap the Keg Oktoberfest. So a beer festival right outside the Kibbe Dome in the track complex, Friday, September 16th. So just a high level overview. The entry fee, I believe, is $40 a ticket. That gets you 10 different tastings of unique beer. Some of them are ones you'll only be able to get there. And then you can buy additional tastings, or there's going to be a few other ways to get a few more sips of beer throughout. I believe we're going to have some of the football coaching staff who, if you haven't met them, even if you're not a football fan, you will enjoy talking to some of them. Just high energy, high character, very refreshing guys to talk to. So I'd highly recommend coming up for that if you're going to be in the area. It's going to be a great event. But again, anytime you get back to Moscow, it's going to be a fun time. But this one we're really excited about. It's kind of the first time we've pushed. any real big alumni centric event from the alumni board. So, and as Amy mentioned, another great chance to show off the Idaho Alumni Club, which I know a few folks on here were instrumental in helping raise the money to allow us to open that facility. So if you haven't been there to see it, particularly Nancy and Brian, I know you were involved early on. It was a dream for about 2 decades to get there. So
Definitely.
take the time to go check it out.
And the Vandal ski days were a lot of fun this year. I participated in a couple of them before I even came into this position. So if you started it off by up in North Idaho, thank you, because they're a lot of fun. And we'll always solicit ideas. I know there's a couple chapters out there that we're bringing back to life again. And if you have thoughts about what might work in your area, then please keep us posted. We'll try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Maybe we'll try something new the next time. But we definitely will be there to help and support those ideas. So excellent.
All right. I believe we did have one question. Jump over. Rich Patterson asked, so how do alums like Mary and I who live 2,000 miles away help the university?
Thank you. I think that's such an important question. We have a lot of alums that live even more than 2,000 miles away. I think a good thing that did come out of COVID is we found ways to engage that don't always have to be in person. So the Vandal network, mentoring network is a great example where we have been able to connect with people all over the place to get them involved with a student's success. So that's an example. Our advisory boards are also becoming a lot more adaptable and flexible, that to participate maybe not only just on an advisory board, but maybe on some of their subcommittees of a college that you're interested in. Let us help you make those connections, but they aren't necessarily always looking for people that are right here and available to them. There's people on our advisory boards from all over the world, and knowing how to connect now better virtually, I think opens that door even more in terms of engaging people in the right way. We also want to continue, of course, the Cup of Joe. This came out of engagement of ways to engage during the time of COVID, but we have found that people find it's really easy, and I love any ideas that people have where we can feature a dean or somebody else that you might be interested in hearing more about. One of the requests that we had recently is to hear more about the University of Idaho and their partnership in the WAMI program, which is the medical, program of really helping to educate our doctors that are so needed these days. And University of Idaho's played a huge role in helping to place and grow our medical community, not just in Idaho, but elsewhere. So that is going to get on our list here shortly. But these virtual opportunities are not going to leave us just because hopefully we can look at COVID in our rearview mirror, which we probably will never be able to do, but at least we're back to having more events in person, but we will continue to have virtual events as well. And we'll connect you one way or the other, even if you aren't in our backyard. So good question.
Those virtual events were great. I'm going to add one more, Amy, and that's tell your story. That's something that Scott has been very vocal about from the day he first came in as president. Tell your Vandal story to anyone who will listen. That's probably the biggest thing, is just let people know how your life is better from the University of Idaho and things you learned, the people you met, and the experiences you had. I didn't realize until I was in my master's program much later that it's not normal for an undergrad to be turned over essentially the keys to the biggest recruiting event of the university. So I was the Vandal Friday intern one year. Apparently they don't normally do that at other universities, but the University of Idaho trained and trusted me to do that. It was an experience that at a 22-year-old to put on my resume, I was definitely a standout for. So tell those stories. And I think everybody's got some version of that. That's a big
Yeah.
piece of it.
That's absolutely true. We want to hear those stories. There's so many great things that Vandals are doing everywhere. So send them our way.
Yeah. Another one for you, Amy. I know you have a current position open. Can you tell us a little bit about your vision for that position and for the alumni relations staffing as a whole?
Yeah, thank you. We need help. We've got a great and mighty team here. And we have some folks that are also in Boise. You met Sandy. Sandy Larson's awesome. She just celebrated 25 years with the University of Idaho. So fantastic. But we also have Lauren Hamilton that's in Boise, and we have Marie Duncan in Moscow, and Jake Milson and Malcolm Heslin that they're all here in Moscow. But I opened up a position to help us with young alumni engagement, or I should say new decade graduates that come out of the university, but also chapter growth and chapter health. And really making sure our chapters are healthy and that we're everywhere that people want us to be. So that position actually can be located in any one of our centers or here in Moscow. So that is an exciting opportunity for somebody. I think they probably need to like to travel, because there will be a bit of travel and really to help with the engagement. And they need to be kind of strategically thinking about how to engage alumni and really enjoy, being out and about and meeting as many people as possible and bringing as many people back to the university. So that's going to be a great position for somebody. If there's anybody out there, please, it's online, please send them to our career site at the University of Idaho. We also have lots of intention to grow our SARB program, which is our student alumni program, where we bring people in, the students in to help us across many events and activities. And this is always an exciting position for people to think about. So we really want to help grow our student support that we have with our organization. We have a marketing and communications position to really help us with social media and to help us really get the word out with these great stories that you mentioned. So that position, I don't think is quite posted yet, but it soon will be. And then we also have some, just people that might want to just work part-time. We have those kinds of positions that happen throughout the year. So there's nice opportunities for people that might want to be a part of this exciting team. And I will say, we always will take volunteer help all the time. So our chapters, some of our chapter support has been fantastic. And Nick, your board has been terrific in helping us when we have needs to have more people helping us. So thank you.
My favorite volunteer work that I do. So, when you talked about your goals, and then again, just recently, you talked about engaging young alumni. What plans do you have, or where do you see opportunities to expand that engagement?
Yeah, so fortunately, we have some young folks on our alumni team and a lot of good chapter support that come from our younger generation of alumni. And so whenever I get a chance, I've been like, what do you think will work? What do you think is really important? Or what will draw you to the university and keep you here? And some of the ideas are terrific. I mean, a lot of folks need some educational support. They want to know how, maybe it's something about financing, maybe it's about paying off student debt. So having some programs out there that really help our young alumni understand how to maneuver through that. Another, another thing that we've heard from our new decade of graduates is they really want family-based activities to enjoy. So you mentioned some of the Coeur d'Alene and North Idaho events. Well, one of them is a day at Silverwood, right? And so this is always a lot of fun for people to bring their families. So we're really hopeful for new ideas that help draw in draw in the kids as well, to not just limit it to a pub or a wine, our wine club, which is fantastic. But think about, what do we want to do to really make sure it's exciting for their kids too. And so we're growing that, but it's really starting with ideas and trying to make sure we are reaching, having programming events that reach the right people. So. I also wanted Nick to, I don't see too many other questions in the chat, but I wanted to make sure to open it up for anybody that has suggestions that I mean, I'm all ears. So topics that you might want to cover, I think would be really great to know whether it's on a cup of Joe. So is there somebody out there that wants to pipe in?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, this is Rich Patterson in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I'm the one who put that comment in about 2,000 miles away. But from time to time, I learn of a vandal who is moving here to take a job. It's not very often, and usually I learn just kind of by hook or by crook. And I always try to go out of my way to welcome them to town. But is there some way that you could alert me if you know of a vandal moving to this area of the country? And then I would be sure to welcome them and thank them.
I love that idea. In fact, you're not the only one who has asked that before. So we definitely want to find a way that we're much more systematic about that. So fortunately, my first meetings are with some of the right people that know more about this information are on my calendar now. So it's not only people, vandals that might have just recently moved to that area, but it also might be that students that, that are going to be going on to the University of Idaho and just making a connection there to say this from one alumni to a student going that direction. If you ever need anything or you need help, I'm here to help you. Those are great ideas. And I think that really helps spread the vandal love across the country for sure. And thank you for that comment, because it's really, really important. Our vandals are absolutely everywhere. So if we can do something to take advantage of that and leverage that support, I'm all in. I think that's terrific. So thanks, Rich.
That reminds me of one of the projects I think was starting to get rolling right before COVID, but then got derailed. And I think we probably should look at it again. But the idea, I believe, came out of either one of our alumni board members from New York or Washington, D.C., but creating a city guide for vandal alumni who are moving to different areas. Here's how to ride the metro in Washington, D.C. Here are the vandals in the area who are willing to help show you around a little bit. Here are some vandal-owned businesses. Kind of some of those pieces we talked about. I know on the vandal vet side, the professor of military science, Ross, has talked about doing the same thing for military bases. Oh, you're going to Fort Bragg. Well, here we have all of these officers who are also alumni that are ready to help show you around a little bit. So looking at how to systemically do some of that. So if that's something we want to bring together for different areas, I think that'd be a great time to start.
One area that I can, and Nancy, I see your hand up. That's awesome. One area where we could also really use some help. If you hear of any vandal or alumni that by chance isn't getting our information, can you send me a note and just let me know what their contact info so we can reach out. We have, I think Sandy put this in the chat, but where that we do have a place on the website to update information, and we really don't want to lose track of people. So if you hear of somebody not getting our information, please let us know so we can chase them down and make sure that we reconnect them. So Nick, I think Nancy had a question. Nancy, you're on mute. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so just a question, if you know currently, are we through with connecting all parts of Idaho on the internet now so that people can receive, even in Terry Armstrong's time many years ago, more than 25 years ago, his goal was for students to be able to click into some programs through the university. And even though I'm one of the truly lucky ones living in Moscow forever and ever, amen, I find that I learn a lot even watching public TV on the programs from Boise, especially the news programs where they interview different people from the legislature talking about connections with the university and things that have to do with the university. Also, it's good to know about what's going on educationally all over our state, but I think it does also open up ideas for us. One other thing that I think is we don't use as much as we could is that there is a community student, I think, I'm not sure of the title of it, but it's a connection with people from town who might need some help of different kinds of ways. They can connect with a person at the university and she'll connect them with, put that word out to students at the university who might be able to help out. We had that the pleasure of having some fraternity kids help us with a flagpole raising that will be happening soon, but they have become very close friends with our Rotary group, and in fact will be have been invited to attend the ceremony when we dedicate the flagpole. And I would like to see Moscow become like every student's second hometown. I think I would love to see that happen, where not only did they enjoy their time here, I hope, and if not, we should work harder as a community, but also that they love to come back. And I think that is part of the fun, to see that some of the things they remember may have been even better now, but still here. But I think that would be a fun thing to do. Yeah.
I really like that, Nancy. Nancy, if those of you who don't know Nancy Lyle, but she has been so engaged in the Moscow community. She's also on the Retirees Association and the Rotary. Her and I were on the board together with the National Alumni Association. But Nancy, if there's anybody well connected to a community, it's definitely you, and those ideas that you're sharing of how we have the community help the students. I love that, and I've seen some great engagement between the community and the students, and they're there to help. And so those were fantastic things and ideas to share with us. So, okay, other ideas out there. We're an open book. If there's all kind, again, we'll try some things, and if it doesn't work, then we'll shift gears and we'll try something else. But I think all ideas are welcome at this point, as we're kind of bringing things up. So, and if you know people that want to be involved in chapters, I'm really excited about the chapter engagement. We're really seeing some folks coming together, and really, the chapters aren't a lot of work, actually. We're kind of the workhorse behind the scenes. It's really that they're the connecting points. They're going to really help us know what works in their community, what doesn't work, maybe the network of how we can get the word out, and who they know and that are vandals that can come to the table. Those chapters are going to be really important to us. So please think about those that might be interested in chapter engagement in your community. So anything else? Okay, Nick, it looks like it's quieted down.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Amy, for sharing your vision and some of the things that you've experienced, and excited to see where we go with this. One of the things I'll say, if you come up with a new idea, you're laying in bed tonight and you can't sleep, feel free to email Amy or Sandy or myself and let us know ideas for an event. If you want to get involved in a chapter, anything at all related to the University of Idaho, send that over and we'll be glad to help get that rolling. Amy, any parting words before we close this out?
I just will say it's an honor. I honestly, this is the best alumni that any university could have. We have so many passionate alumni out there, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. And I am excited to meet all of you, hopefully in person. If not, we'll connect virtually. So thank you for taking a time out of your day to just kind of stay engaged and listen to all the exciting things that are happening. And don't forget to put some of these events on your calendar. I think it's going to be, there's never a dull moment. So thank you. No chapters in Florida yet, by the way. We hope so, Bill. If you want to, if you're there and you want to start one, we're all game. All right.
I'd be happy to staff that one.
Excellent.
Send me to Florida.
I was there 2 weeks ago, Sandy. You can have that one this
Yeah.
time of year. I'll go in
Yeah.
January.
No kidding. Yeah, be careful what you wish for, right?
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everybody.
Go Vandals.
Go Vandals.